it's Linton here from Greenbox Markets. So I'm busy looking at the Euro-Yen currency pair, and there's a couple of options with this setup. So I wanted to do a video for you just to help you out with the setup and all the options that there are. So right now we're looking at the daily time frame, and this is the bigger structure over here that we're busy watching. And we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 waves. Now we need to see from this point which direction this trade is going to go. And the one option obviously is that we're going to get the fifth wave down. And the second option is that we actually get a breakout of this structure now, and we see the formation of a flag and more upside from that point on. I am, however, leaning to the short side, and I'll tell you why. The reason for that is the current formations that we are seeing on the lower time frames. So I'm going to just remove that wave over there quickly, and I just want to show you on a lower time frame what it is that I'm talking about. So let's drop down to the 4 hour quickly. So this being the top of the structure on the daily that I was talking about, and this is another flag formation that has taken place at the top of the daily structure. And as you can see, it's a bearish shaped flag formation. In other words, it's not tapering off, it's actually diagonally up to the right hand side, which usually indicates that there will be a bearish break from that point. So what we're seeing over here is we're seeing 1, 2, 3 waves, and we're either going to see a break now to the downside of this formation, or alternatively we will see the completion of more waves before we get the break to the downside. That's based on a bearish setup. The other thing that I'm looking at as well, sorry, let me just remove these two quickly just to make it more clear for you, is that there is a smaller flag formation as well within this flag formation. So I'm going to pop down to the 1 hour quickly just so that we can have a look at that. So if we have a look at the 1 hour, we can see within this bigger flag formation there's another bearish shaped flag setting up over here, which has given us 1, 2, 3 waves, and this could be the fourth, and we could be expecting the break to the downside like so. Should that flag break to the downside, 1, 2, 3 waves down to the downside, we will more than likely see a break of this bigger formation to the downside as well, and that would be confirmation, in my opinion, that we will see a move down on the bigger time frames as well. Let's just go back to the 4 hour. So if we get the break out of that initial smaller flag over there down to the bottom of this flag over here, I'm quite confident 1, 2, 3 that we would see the break of that flag at that point, simply because it's already tagged the top of this daily structure. There is, however, one other option that could play out here, and I'm just going to go back onto the daily time frame to show you this, and this is where it gets a little bit more complicated. So on the daily time frame, what we could see, I'm just going to delete that so that we can see it more clearly. So on the daily time frame, what we could see is we could actually see a complete change of this corrective structure, this bigger corrective structure over here. So what we could actually see is this forming into a 3-wave structure, 1, 2, 3, like that, which would actually give us another corrective structure like that. Still a bearish setup, still expecting a break to the downside, but that would change this entire corrective structure setup. In other words, we would then have what we call a 1, 2, 3 wave format to the downside before we then look for the overall break to the upside again. That is an option, and that's why I wanted to record this video for you. So it's very, very imperative to see what happens at these lower time frames now on the smaller flag breaks. If we do get the initial flag break to the downside on the small flag, we should see a break of this bigger flag over here and this fifth wave down. Alternatively, if we get the break now, it's quite possible that we will see this 3-wave structure complete, which will give us a bigger 1, 2, 3 to the downside. We'll have to see how the formations play out in order to see exactly which direction it's going to go. Initial place we start is with these flag formations. I hope that helps you with the setup on Euro Yen. Remember to subscribe to our signal service if you'd like to get the exact entry, take profit, and stop loss levels for these positions. And remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Take care. Cheers.